Hello and hi everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of the KNIME 101 webinar series. It's already July, which means that we've reached, well, half time in our 101 webinar series for this year. We can already look back on 5 previous 101 webinars. We've learned a lot so far. We've learned some useful tips and tricks for workflow building. We've learned how to build data apps. We learned about flow variables. And last month, we also learned about how to use KNIME for chemistry data. And I would say the latest since May, the session about flow variables, we have reached a point where we are now able to build more complex and more advanced workflows. And today's session fits in there just perfectly because today we are talking about how to generate PDF reports with KNIME. So this allows us, building PDF reports allows us to combine our knowledge we have about data apps, about flow variables, and it brings our data pipeline to the next level because once we manage the KNIME reporting capabilities, we are then able to share the insights and findings with other people, be it your colleagues or your managers, or maybe even external stakeholders. But let's not spoil too much. Let me first introduce our mentor of today, Armin Rudd. So Armin is a longtime KNIME user, and many of you might know him from the forum. His forum name is Armin Grudd or Armin G. Rudd. And actually, he's a KNIME champion from the very first hour because he's one of our KNIME contributors of the month from the very first season. So in February 2021, we decided to award him as a KNIME COTM for his exemplary activities on the KNIME forum and for the many high quality workflows and components he shared with us on the Community Hub. But this is not all. Armin is also a KNIMer. And one of the projects he's involved with is organizing the KNIME Community Hacking Days. So if you happen to have participated in one of those before, you might know Armin already. And he might have even awarded you a white hat, like he has one himself. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, no worries. The KNIME Community Hacking Days, they are invite-only events where selected KNIME community members, they test our upcoming releases. And if you're active in such an event, then you are recognized as a white hat KNIMer and you earn a special badge for your contribution. Now, if you now want to be part of these events in the future, well, just stay active in the community and then you might receive an invite for one of the future events and most likely by Armin, I guess. I'm now handing the stage to Armin. Welcome, Armin. I would say let's learn how to use or generate PDF reports.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Lisa, for having me in this episode of KNIME 101. I'm happy to present this episode and show you how to create your PDF reports in KNIME using the KNIME reporting feature. So I'm going to actually present this episode in 3 phases. So in the first step, I'm going to show you very quickly how to make your existing components a report enabled component and then actually export the PDF report. And in the second and third steps, I will show you a simple example, workflow example, and also a more complicated and advanced example, which actually the last example shows you how to create a data app and let your end users to customize their own PDF reports. But before going to the first step, at first I want to show you a PDF example that we want to achieve at the end of this episode. So now I'm going to share my screen. First, I hope you can see my screen now.
Looking all good, yes.
Okay, thank you. So first, I'm going to show you, this is like a PDF export of one of my second actually workflow example, which is a CO2 emission report. This is a public data. And the workflow is also on Hub. I can show you later. But as you can see, like this is a report for 3 countries: Germany, France, and Canada. And it shows the CO2 emission over years and data comparison with the countries that I had selected in the data app. It has like some header, the title, the charts, table, everything, and then the footer, and then the next country, and so on. So a PDF report like a that you can design in KNIME. So actually, this was my first example, and I prepared this for this KNIME 101. But like last week, I saw a very nice report by Bertolt, one of our community members, as a solution to our Just Name It challenge number 8. So if I actually open his workflow actually exports this PDF, and like the challenge is about analyzing the customer loyalty for an airline in different cities. And you can see it's like a very nice report uh, generated by this workflow, and it's like goes like a overview and then analyzes like the loyalty, customer loyalty per city. See, everything is very nicely and very, it's very beautiful. I really liked it. And actually, it was selected as our top solution for Just Name It Challenge 8. So if you want to actually see this example, you can go to KNIME Forum, and then here from the left panel here, you can quickly access the Just Name It category. And here we have like the challenges for each week. So this example was from the challenge 8. And when you go here, then you can actually also there are more solutions, more innovative solutions. And so this one is from Bertolt. And so his workflow, you can find it in Hub under his profile. But you can also here look for other solutions. But if you have a question regarding this solution, this workflow, or other workflows, you can ask under this topic, or you can also create a new topic and ask your questions. But yeah, I wanted to show you these two examples like PDF reports quickly, but now I'm going to KNIME Analytics Platform. So I have an open project, like a new project open here in KNIME 550, which was released just recently. Uh, so I want to show you how to create a report-enabled component and then export the PDF very quickly in just a few steps. So I just use the our example data sets in KNIME. So I go here to explore and then example workflows. And from the data, I go to basics and I choose the adult CSV, which I think most of the community is familiar with. It's one of the most popular example data sets that we have. So here I just configure it to read, for example, only 150 rows because I want to keep it light for now. And then I execute. So what I do, I want to just add two bar charts very quickly. So I search for a bar chart, and then as you can notice, like in 5.5, we have these embedded dialogues by default. So like previously in 5.4 and before that, you had like we had these node configurations, and then previously it was opened in the new window like this. But since 5.5, the default has been changed. So you have always these embedded dialogues like this. You can switch between them, but okay. Now here I configured this node. For example, I use the category for column, the income as the category column, and then I want to calculate the average of, for example, age here. So I have a bar chart like this, and then I also add another bar chart. Very quickly here, this time I use the education. And again, this time I calculate, show the average of hours per week. So till now, it's like we all know how to do this. Like it was reading a CSV file using adding two simple bar charts. And okay, next step here, everyone knows, but I'll do it again. Like I select my two KNIME view nodes, and then I select create component. Right click, create component. It says the nodes will be reset. I said okay, it's okay. And now I have a component, right? So when I execute this component, I have these two bar charts like this. Probably you all know how to edit the layout. So I can go to component and then open layout editor here. And then here I can change the layout. So for example, I put these bar charts next to each other. And now if I execute an open view, I can see the bar charts just next to each other. So this is like this so far. It's something that you may have noticed. You also have the view, like the data view, like the composite view here in the embedded view, which is also new. So I don't need to always like click execute and this open view. If I want to like have the detached view, I can do that, but I also always have this view, embedded view here. So now I want to generate a PDF report out of this composite view that I already have. How can I do that? It's super easy. It's like just a click. Here I go, right click the component again, and I go to the layout editor. So layout editor, we used to go there to actually edit the layout and actually customize how our composite view looks. But now there's like this checkbox on the bottom left here says enable reporting. So in the layout editor, bottom left, I click on this enable reporting, finish. So something has changed now. You can notice these two new input and output ports. These are the report input, report output nodes. So now I need to add a node before here and then nodes afterward. So for the input port, actually, I can drag and drop the input report port here. And from these nodes, you can see I have this report template creator. I select. So every report I want to create, it starts with a report template creator. So what does this report template creator do? It actually will define like the page size, the page orientation, the images that are used in the report. Should they be SVG images or PNG? So default is SVG, and SVG, I prefer SVG myself because then when you zoom, for example, into your PDF, the quality stays the same. You know, by zooming, you don't lose the quality of the images or your charts. So here the page size is A4, the default, but you have different page sizes like A4, A3, letter size, and so on. So you can change the page size and also the orientation, like the default is portrait, you can switch to landscape and so on. So I execute. Now here, my component, I don't need to change anything in my component. I already had the composite view. I was happy with it, so I don't change anything. I just execute this one. And now you see I have this data view and also this component report view, which actually gives me an overview of my PDF report. So my PDF report will look like this. The next step, I want to export this as a PDF. So I just drag and drop the output port here. And here you can see this report PDF writer. I click, and now I can select like the destination. I want to write it in my desktop and, for example, call this one test. And I want to like overwrite if the file exists, because maybe I want to re-execute this node again and again in this episode. So I don't want to get a failed node because of the existing file. So apply and execute. So executed, done. Actually, now the PDF is in my desktop here. That's really easy, right? Like you had already your, so if I close this, yeah, this is like my PDF with the two bar charts. Super easy. Like it's actually not nothing new. regarding what you could already do with KNIME, like the composite views you already know, it's like everything was already there. But now, just by checking this report enabled reporting, you can have a PDF report of your composite views. So it's super easy now to create your PDF reports, because like in the classic, you had this BERT report designer with that complicated UI, but now it's everything that you already have in KNIME and you're familiar, you're like easy drag and drop everything. And now just enable these reports and you have your PDF report. Now, a few points here. This each report enabled component actually has this report output port, which is, as you can see, it says report fragments, this the label for this output port. So each component actually creates a fragment, a report fragment. What does it mean? It means if I had another component like this one, and just let's say this is like another, like just the second component that I have, and it has its own view and everything. So if I want to add this, like the composite view of this component also to my report, what should I do? Again, very easy. Just I can connect these two components to each other, and then now this component to the report PDF writer node. Oh, as simple as that, like super easy. Now, when I generate the report, the PDF report, if I open my PDF again, you see now I have 4 because the first 2 are from the first component and the other 2, the next 2 are from the second component. Now you may ask, what if I want to have every fragment in a new page? What can I do here? So between these two nodes, I need to use something that puts this page break. That brings us to the nodes that we have for KNIME reporting. So let's review those nodes. So in the tree view of the node repository, you can see this category named reporting. And when you open, you can see this BERT, which actually related to the classic BERT report designer, but the other nodes are the KNIME reporting nodes. So the report template creator we already used, we know what it is. The report PDF writer we already have. Report HTML writer actually is the same as the PDF writer. It just, instead of a PDF file, it generates an HTML file for you. So, and then you see we have this report page break. You probably guessed that this is the node that we were looking for. So I can just drag and drop it between these two components. And now, again, if I execute and check my PDF, now you can see the composite view actually of the second component is a new page in my report. So there's a page break between these two report fragments here. And what if I wanted actually to, let's say I had like 2 branches. Sorry. Let's say I had 2 branches, like 2 components with the report enabled components. And now I want to concatenate them. They don't go one after another, but I need to concatenate them. Like the data table, when you concatenate, you can also concatenate report fragments. So how can I do that? Again, you can see here we have this report concatenate node, and it's exactly the same as the concatenate node where you concatenate report data tables. You can just connect the report ports to this and then execute. Now they're concatenated, and you can also add more input ports and like add more fragments, concatenate more fragments. There's one settings in this node. It says insert page break. Now you already know what does it do. So by default, it doesn't like add a page break, but if you check this, then it will add a page break between these two fragments, and then you can like write it, or you can continue with another report enabled component and so on. So that's how you actually build your reporting workflows. So that's for the first step that I wanted to show. So you now are familiar how to enable the reporting for a component, how to add the report template, what does it do, and the PDF, how to export and write the PDF or the HTML writer, and also you're familiar with the other nodes. There is one node, this report loop end node that you also have, but I didn't show this because we have it in the our first simple example. So let's begin. Before I go to my first example, I just wanted to mention this point for the report for KNIME reporting actually, and the views that you use in the component. And if you want to have the image of these charts in your report, you have to use the new KNIME report, the new KNIME view nodes. Like under the views, you have all these. They are actually not new. They have been there since five, I think, for like 5 years, 5.1. So they are not new, but I mean, yeah, we had these JavaScript view nodes before. Now we have this KNIME view nodes and like the generic eCharts view node and stuff. So for KNIME reporting, you have to use these. But if you want to use the old JavaScript, or if you have workflows and composite views with the old JavaScript views, still you can use them, because in this new KNIME view nodes, you have this image view node, which is very nice. Any node with an image output port, you can connect to this image view, and then this image view actually works perfectly fine with the KNIME reporting. So all JavaScript views, or if you have images, custom images, your own images, you want to include your report, like the header footer that I had, you can use the image view for them. So this is about the quick demo. Now I will keep it open. But now I want to show you the first example. So the first example is the workflow created by Marina, one of my colleagues. It's the CO2 emissions report. Actually, the last report that you saw was from the second example, which is also based on this workflow. So I want to actually now open this workflow in AP. So I just drag and drop it from hub to AP, and now I wait for it to load. It takes, you see, it's like 10 megabytes because it's saved in executed format. So this workflow is very simple. Like there's the CO2 emission data that it reads, and it has like the CO2 emission details for all the countries since 1949 till 2020, I think. And so in this data preprocessing, actually we get only the top 3 countries in terms of CO2 emission, like it's China, United States, and India, like in 2020. And then inside this loop, we generate 3 report fragments. So this is like what you can see here, like from the port. This is for India, and this is from the last iteration of this loop. So this is a group loop start, which iterate over the countries. So we had 3 countries, so it's like 3 iterations, and the last iteration was India. So here is like the last fragment, which is for India. But then this report loop end actually, like any loop end, it concatenates the output of each iteration. So each report fragment from each iteration, actually, it concatenates them. And now here in the output, you can see we have China, United States, and then India. And then at the end, we just write the PDF report. Again, I can select like my desktop, and I'll call this one like test one. Choose file, apply and execute. Very simple. Open. Yes, I have the report. See, very nice. So what do we have in this report? See, you have a one row table. You can see some nice stuff like the details that you might want to use in your reports. For example, you can see it's like the colorful values inside this table. These are actually HTML. So the columns in the tables here are HTML type, and you can actually generate HTML column types, and then you can use like HTML styling there to use like to colorize, for example, the text. And then at the bottom we have this footer, for example. And then this footer, I will show you in the workflow. It's actually a text view node. So let's go inside this report enable component here. See, it's like a very nice and simple workflow. It's like a table view, which was like this is the table view that we had. It's a single row. And then we had two line plots and then the text view. So this text view actually is you see, this is the footer that we had. It says, for example, India was ranked 3 in terms of CO2 emission in 2020. Sorry. And also there's a bar chart. So you see, like everything is like just 5, 6 view nodes, and then you create your composite view, you edit the layout, enable reporting, export. That's it. Easy peasy. So now this is now like a live, a good example of how to create a composite view and then export the PDF. But the thing is, now I can, of course, I can automate this workflow and then write my PDF and then send this PDF to somewhere or even write wherever I want. Then I can automate everything here. But the point is, I need to design the layout, my PDF actually here. I need to design it beforehand. So as soon as I design the layout, like however I want, but when I design it, then it always generates the same style, like the same formatting, the same layout of the report. So the end user, the user that actually I'm going to provide this report to, they cannot actually modify the layout, right? You decide as the KNIME, as the workflow builder, you decide how to design the report, and then it always will be the same. But what if I tell you with this KNIME reporting feature, now you can actually build your own report designers. Like for those of you who are familiar with the BERT report designer, it's like a giant tool. Of course, it's very powerful. But I mean, what if I tell you you can build your own custom lightweight report designer? So you can build a data app, which is somehow similar to BERT, which lets your end users design what they want. They can put the elements inside the report and then generate it. Let me show you. So again, I go to KNIME Community Hub, and I have this example report designer data app. So be careful. It's like the latest version is 2.2.1. I don't know, maybe you find other copies of this workflow, but the 2.2.1 should be the latest version from under my account. So I just drag and drop this workflow into AP, and that's it. So everything here is almost the same as the previous example. It reads the same data set. Instead of filtering the top 3 countries, it actually passes all the countries, because then in my actually data, I want to select the countries that I want to generate the report for. So now I want to execute and open the view of this component. This is actually data. So actually by building this data, I wanted to show our community, like give you this idea that you can build your own report designer. You are not limited to like pre-built report layouts. You can actually let your end users to play a bit with the design, like you change it a bit, customize it for themselves, and then export the report. So let's show you. So here, for example, in this data, I can actually select the countries that I want to put in my like report. So for now, I just select, for example, one country, Australia. There are countries that I can select to compare this country with them. For now, I don't use anything. I just want to generate the most like the simplest form of this report. So generate report, only a single report for Australia. So this is the report, and I call it full report here. So first option that I could actually I added to my layout, like to my data app, is layout switch. What do I mean by layout switch? I mean I can actually design different layouts for my report and then let my end user select one of between them. So this is like the full report, which has the full width table, a heat map, a pie chart, and then two line plot, a bar chart at the bottom, and the footer and everything. If I actually download this report, so this is like this data app generates the report, and then there's this download widget node that you can now download the file. So here I can exactly again select my desktop, save. If I open it, here is my report. So you see, it's like a two-page report for each country. But now I can also say, okay, I'm the end user, like the KNIME developer or the workflow builder here created this data app for me. And now I can say, okay, no, I want a summary report. I don't want a full report. So let's see what happens if I select the summary report. So for summary report, see, the report is now shorter. It's only like a half width table, a line plot, like there's no heat map, there's no pie chart, they're all gone. So it's simplified. And when I export this one, it's only one page. So I switch back to full report here. But what's next? What else can I do? Like you can imagine now, I think you're getting the idea little by little. You can do all the power, like all the flow, like Bertold and Marcel actually showed you the flow variables, the power of flow variables in KNIME. Using the flow variables, the switch nodes, all the KNIME capabilities and features, if you mix them, you can actually build like crazy stuff here. So for example, here I have this CO2 emission share, which is this pie chart here. What if I wanted to show something else? This one is showing me the emission share. I want to show, for example, the average CO2 emission for different countries. So I want to compare this one with the Canada, for example, and then I also want to compare the average CO2 emission of these countries. So let's generate the report. Let's see what happens now. Now, instead of the pie chart, I have a bar chart, which then has like this bar chart comparing the values here and everything else. What else? Like there's something very, very super advanced feature in BERT Report Designer we had was like I didn't see actually anyone like to mention it in the forums, and it was very difficult for me to find out this feature back in the days for BERT, but to actually hide some charts. For example, I have a chart that I like on some based on some conditions. I want to remove it from my report. I don't want to include it. And not in all my report, but in parts of my report. For example, I'm generating this report for several countries, and then I want to like hide one chart here, one section for some of these countries based on the condition. So with KNIME and with all those nodes and everything, it's super easy to do that. So let's say like this is the source bar chart we are talking about. This is the bar chart at the bottom of the report. And then my end user can just say, okay, I don't want to show this in my report. And then it's done. It's gone. No bar chart. And then I can just download my report again. Let's save it. It says it's already exists. So I replace it. Yeah, no bar chart in my PDF report, just by one click. I'm the end user. I'm not like someone already built this data up for me, so I can do whatever I want. And also you can, the last point here is to how to change your the settings. Like here, for example, the bar chart here is stacked, but I can switch to grouped bar chart. So they can have like group bars next to each other here. So now you get the idea. You can have like this customization settings or widgets, and then let your end user to customize their report. And to finish this is not related to reporting particularly, but with the new KNIME processing, email processing nodes, KNIME email processing nodes, you can use them, and then they fit very nicely with the reporting. So yeah, here I have included all the widgets to provide the SMTP settings, but it's easy to actually attach your PDF reports to your emails and then send it to someone. Like here, for example, I can say, okay, I can add the email addresses manually, or I have like a predefined list I can select from, and then I have some custom message. I want to attach my report PDF file to an email, send the report, easy peasy. I want to include the HTML format of my report inside the email, not as an attachment, but as a message. I can do that, or I can do also both. If you want to see how this workflow actually works in depth, you can just download it, go and then investigate. If you have a question, I'm very happy to answer in forum. Just tag my name, answer your question. I will answer. And by showing this example, I think I have presented whatever I wanted to show you. Thank you, and let's get back to Lisa.
Nice. Cool. Thanks, Armin. Thank you very much. That's really, really cool, especially the last example, or actually use case, I think is really cool. I saw a comment somewhere in the chat that someone was like generating a workflow just for the purpose of generating a view to build a report is just great. So yeah, really, really cool. So yeah, we have reached the end of the time allocated for your presentation, and now we're opening up the floor to all kind of questions. We have definitely plenty of time left, so please, if you have questions, ask them in the Q&A chat. My colleagues are monitoring there as well. Okay, let's have a look. There are already a couple of questions coming in. So first of all, first question, what about exporting images in a PDF report? How can we deal with that?
Okay, actually, that's a very good question, but I think I already answered it during the presentation. Maybe I had to highlight it. But the image view node is a great node. It's like it's a solution to many problems. So like the old JavaScript nodes, they can have an image output port. You can connect it to the image view node and then uh, put it in your report enabled components. Also, you can read images using the read image node, and then also connect and then convert those image cells into image port with the table to image node, and then connect the image port to the image view node, and then you have it. Actually, my second example and also Bertold's example, actually Bertold's example has lots of those images. So if you download his workflow, you can yeah, see how you can actually import images and then include it in your report.
All right. And if we're talking about what can be included in reportings, so how is it? So now we've seen all those 9 view nodes, right? Um, How is it with those like JavaScript new view nodes or the Python script view nodes? Or what about widget nodes? Can all of them be included or just the 9 view nodes when you export it as PDF, I mean?
So yes, so you can use the 9 view nodes, and the 9 view nodes are very broad. Like they are not you're not limited because we have like some chart views and also this generic e-chart view where you can have your custom very like advanced view you can generate. And then also there's image view that we talked about and a text view. So you can have custom text like those footnotes that we were using text view, something very nice. If you again, if you go in the second example of mine, like if you download the workflow, you can see, for example, you can add formatting to the part of the text in the text view. So, and you can also use flow variables inside the text view to parameterize your string or your text there. So basically, you can do everything with those 9 view nodes. And as I said, if you have an existing component or existing composite view with the old JavaScript view nodes, and then you don't want to change everything, you can just enable the image output port and then use the image view and solves your problem.
Nice. And with your answer, you not only answered my question, but there was another question I wanted to ask next, which was about as someone asked if there is a text editor available, which Armin just explained is the text view node with which you can add all kind of text stuff like titles or footers and stuff like that to your reporting.
Yeah, just one
Now,
point about the widget. Sorry. The widgets I didn't answer. So the widgets actually, because we are talking about generating PDF or static PDF reports. So then the widgets actually, yeah, they don't make sense and they are not, yeah, you cannot use them for the to be inside because, yeah, they don't won't show up in your PDF. And yeah, just because they are part of the composite view. So again, if you go inside the component of the second example, I have the report enabled components inside the root component, the first component. So the first component is actually for the data for the composite view, but the reporting actually is happening inside the insider component. So there are other components inside the first component to generate the report. Yeah.
and this is also a good keyword. You said static reporting, static PDFs. So maybe just again to be clear, if you have a data app with widgets, it's interactive. If your report is a PDF, it's just static. And the same is true for HTML reporting, because there was a question if the HTML report, if it is interactive. And I mean, unless I'm totally off, but if you export it as an HTML, it's also a static report. With that, I'm saying it's also not interactive.
So yeah, so what
I
what
hope I'm
what you
right.
have with the data apps, it's different from the like the report PDF and HTML. So HTML still you can have like the tooltips. So it's like still you have some sort of, it's not like exactly like PDF, but it's not like data apps. So with data apps you have like you can interact and then select and then things change, like you select the bar chart and then the other views change, but you don't have it with the HTML reports, right? So yes, I can say it's like still it's static, but with data apps, yeah, you can just interact, you can uh, change things, you can select something somewhere and then like based on your selection the view changes in somewhere else in your dashboard. But PDF, like reports in general, yes, they're static, yes.
All right. Maybe a different question. Maybe you can jump back into your KNIME Analytics platform, because um, there were actually two questions that refer to your very first example you showed, so the very basic reporting you created. So first of all, could you maybe reiterate how you add the branches? There was a question about that, how you add the branches to the component for reporting. And in general, there was also the second question that refers to um, whether this component was custom made, which I can already say, yes, you create the component yourself, but maybe you could just reiterate that part again about how to enable the reporting and how to make the component.
Okay, I already shared my screen here again. Can you see this screen?
Yes, it's loading. Yes, it's there.
Okay. So, okay, this is the first example here. So I just imagine I have, so, okay, I can do it like again. So let's copy this component, and just for the sake of time, I just, okay, I'm using my touchpad a bit slower. So I expand this one. So again, I have these two, like my reader node and then my two bar charts. And I select my views, create the component. So here I have the regular component that we are all like familiar with. But now I want to make it report enable. So I need to go to the layout editor of the component. How I go there? So there are like two ways. First, I can right click, open the context menu of the component, then go to component and then open layout editor. Or I can go also inside the component by opening like holding command or control and double click, or right click component open. And then from here at the top, we have this button, open layout editor. So this is the layout editor. Layout editor, like for composite views, you can just change the layout of your composite view. But also now here on the bottom left, you don't need to install any extensions. It's there by default. So you can just here check this box and then finish. If I go back now, my component has this new two report ports. One point here, if I go inside, you see I don't see these input output ports inside the component. These are not the regular input output ports that we add to our components. These are the like the ports corresponding to our report fragments, like the report that is generated by the composite view of this component. So I can also add new report ports. So if like you want to add a new port for your component, you can also select and add a report port. But this report port, actually, the second report port that I added, it's not like the original one, that the one that actually is generated, is a report fragment generated by this component. It's just a regular port that I can, for example, if I have another report output port, I can connect it to it here inside the component. And if you, another difference actually is this, I can delete this one that I added, but I cannot delete these two ports. I can, if I want to like remove them, I need to go to layout editor again and then disable the reporting, and they are gone. So that's how I enable reporting for a component. And then to actually add report fragments to each other, as I said, you can just put the components one after another and just connect these report ports, and then put, for example, page break if you need to, or use, for example, the report concatenate, or the, if you want to generate those fragments inside the loop, use the loopend, report loopend to actually aggregate or append all the fragments, report fragments to each other. In the Berthold's example here, you can also see in his workflow, he's using this report concatenate. So he has like a component or a composite view to generate, like to create the cover page, one for the overview page, and then for all those detailed pages, he's using a loop, and then he's concatenating all into one single report and then export. So yes, this is like how you do it. So that's it. I
Nice.
hope I have answered the question.
Yes, yes. I hope that answers the question. I believe yes. Um, Also, there was also a question, but you also answered that already. So someone asked about what if you have to generate multiple PDFs in the same workflow? And this is what Armin just showed. Either you, for example, loop over it and then you combine or concatenate multiple PDFs, but also you can have multiple PDF writer nodes that write to individual files if you need them separate. So there you have
Exactly.
really this
Yeah,
flexibility.
it's a matter of the workflow design. You can also, for example, we had so in our examples, we always had one single PDF writer at the end. But what you can also do is if you want to generate one PDF report per each fragment, for example, per each iteration of your loop, you can put your PDF writer inside the loop, and then in each iteration there will be a PDF generated. So yeah, it's then just the workflow building, how you design your workflow, how you want, if you want multiple PDFs, if you want one single PDF.
Great. All right. So there was another question. How, so this I think I can answer because it refers to the reporting extension in general. So first of all, what if I can't find a PDF node, for example, or the reporting nodes? And the other question was, and I believe it goes in the same direction, how do I enable the reports for my user group? Well, both them, the answer is you need to install the KNIME reporting extension. I believe it's not included in the default extension list when you install KNIME Analytics Platform, but it's just a normal extension. You just install it like any other extension, and then you have all the nodes available. So I
Sorry,
hope
just to
this,
correct you
yes,
here, Lisa, sorry, the nine reporting is included with the default
it's
installation.
by
So you
default
don't need
included.
to, yes, you don't need to install another extension. It's already included.
Okay, then perfect. Then they should all be there. Maybe one last question before we wrap up this webinar. Someone asked about one of my favorite visualization nodes, the eCharts node. How can you use or enable eCharts or create eCharts with KNIME and include them in a report?
So actually, I used a generic eChart view node. So I want, for my example, it was a very like a custom heat map. So I had two heat maps. One of them was simple, so I used the like the heat map view node that we already have. But for the other one, I wanted, for example, to change the colors, and also the legend. I wanted to change the position. So I used the generic eChart view, and I had no idea how to come with the script there. It's not a script actually, with the option object that the generic eChart needs. I just used Kai. So it was like it took me 4 or 5 prompts that I asked, and then I actually modified it a bit, and then I had my desired heat map. So yes, you can use Kai. Like it's like in all scripting and expression nodes, you can use Kai, and it generic chart is the same.
All right, great. Okay, one very, very last question that just came in, and then we're wrapping up. We have 6 minutes left. Quick answer, a short question. How can I add a logo, like a company logo to the final PDF? Yes, you can add PDF, like logos to your PDF. It's also with the image view node. And that there, I believe there are those examples in the workflows Armin shared. Otherwise, the image view node is the answer to your question. That way you can read in a PNG company logo and put it top left, bottom left, wherever you want. All right, and now with that, I'm yeah, we've reached the end of the time allocated for the webinar anyways. I love to wrap up the session now. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks, Armin. I believe you're back. Thanks, Armin, for your presentation. Um, I saw there's some very, very great positive comments in the chat. Um, yeah, before I'm ending the session, I would just like to remind you all about the next upcoming KNIME 101 webinar, which will happen in August. It's scheduled for August 13, and it happens with another KNIME colleague of ours, Scott Fincher. And in that session, he will explain to you how to make use of Kai when it comes to workflow building. So Kai is our KNIME AI assistant, and I believe there are definitely some tips and tricks you can learn from Scott about workflow building with Kai. So, yeah, make sure you're signed up for that one and, yeah, stay tuned. And with that, we're finishing this KNIME 101 webinar. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you all for the great questions. Again, thank you, Armin, for presenting. And I hope
Thank you.
we see you next time.
Thank you all. And now don't forget just 9 challenges, the best way to learn 9, in my opinion.